Okay, hello you all. We are in the first chapter in the Tanya, and today I want to focus on only one or two sentences in the Tanya, and to derive out of those two sentences the whole view of the personality of the Alter Rebbe, the way he views the personality, and to take a broad outlook of how can he catch different persons, and what is the difference between people. And I want to to summarize a bit what we said in the last time about the first chapter in the Tanya. In the first chapter, the Alter Rebbe is throwing the bomb. He's saying that I am two. What does it mean that I am two? I have two souls. Following the first chapter, you will describe the battle between those two souls. But now is describing those two souls. One soul has a tendency for unity, to unite with everything that it comes together. It's like unity is the most important thing for the second soul, but the first soul, the one that we meet in our everyday life, it's the animal soul, but its tendency is to separate us from our environment. What does it mean to separate? In the first soul, that is mostly, it's very powerful in our soul, in our life. When I mean soul is the source of liveliness. The soul animates the body. So there are two powers, two places that the body can get liveliness from: the first soul and the second soul. The first soul is very natural one. Why is it natural? Because it's natural to be egocentric. It's natural for me to be in the center. It's very natural for me to ask, what do I get out of it? What do I derive out of this situation? And it's not natural to get out of myself and to see different people and to see unity in life. It's very natural to be sad. It's very natural to be in stress. It's very natural to be in anxiety. It's not natural to overcome anxiety. It's not natural to overcome stress. Why? Because when I'm in stress or in depression, it's all about me, and I'm only thinking about me, and I'm seeing only myself. When I'm overcoming, or when I succeed to postpone depression out of my life, it means that I succeeded to get myself out of the center, not to be so egocentric, to adopt a broad perspective for life. And this is the meaning of life: to overcome the undesirable emotions, in the sense that you get out of you let your divine soul, the one that looks for unity, to be the one that animates, that give life to your body, that you find this soul as your source of liveliness, as opposed to the other soul, that you will always be connected to the other soul. It's not that you have two souls and there is a battle between them, and we'll talk about this battle. And it's, a lot of people ask me, why do we have this to describe what is happening inside our soul as a battle? We will prefer something more harmonic, something that it's not like a battle, because that's what it is. We have an inner battle. Otherwise, we won't be prepared. And when we are not prepared, and we do not know what is going on inside of our our life, in our inner soul, we won't be ready. We won't know why we are suffering. Why we are suffering from depression? Why do we have anxiety? Why do we lose faith? Why do we lose confidence? Why you can love, as we said at the beginning, you can love your spouse so much and still fight with her and make her small and not be really connected. So you have these two souls, and what the Alter Rebbe is saying, the second soul, we will talk about her in our next lessons. But let's talk about, he's talking briefly about the first soul, the animal soul, the egocentric soul, which is, as we started to say, it's not like you have two souls and they have an inner battle between them. It's like the animalistic soul is the one that animates us, that gives liveliness to the body. And the divine soul, the godly soul, is the one that can handle the first soul and navigate there. If this high soul won't navigate the lower soul, the egocentric soul, will conquer our life and will navigate us. And what does it mean? That when I'm being controlled by my egocentric soul, the one that always, what bothers her is, what do I get out of it? What about me? Think about anxiety. What is it, anxiety? Anxiety is thinking about what will happen, and we do not know what will happen. This is the way this creation has been created. We don't know what will happen in the next moment, and you have an alternative to develop confidence, and that's what that's our life mission, to develop confidence, or to get into anxiety. And what is anxiety? I don't know, and I'm afraid what will happen, and I'm starting to ask myself all kind of questions. How will I be able to handle things? I'm sorry that I'm catching. I saw that every day I'm uploading a video to my Hebrew channel, but I saw that I neglected a little bit my English channel, and I really want to develop it, and I really want to upload content in my English channel. In my Hebrew channel, I do not teach Tanya, but other things, and I took my microphone even though I'm not at home, so it's a bit, it's a bit difficult because I don't have the stand, but we will manage. I'm feeling like I'm in an interview. So when you are being controlled by the first soul, it's very natural. But as to what we eat, it's important to be natural. If you do not know what it is written on your food, don't consume it. But if we're talking about our soul, natural is not good. We have to fix, to correct our natural tendencies. Natural will take us to undesirable things, like being natural in education, in parenting. It's a place that is not right for us. You have not to be natural. You have to understand with your mind what you are doing, and then navigate your natural tendencies. So he's saying in the first chapter, in 2 sentences that I want to emphasize here, to focus on, that the result of being controlled by our first soul, which is the natural soul, the animalistic soul, the result is that the result of being egocentric, the result of being in the middle is rising, developing undesirable emotions. And as he is saying, bad elements, bad temperatures, bad tendencies that are being developed in us. So what is he trying to say? Let me take a little bit backward. We said in one of our talks that what are the emotions? The emotions are the engine of the soul. The role of the emotions is to connect me, to take me out of my place and to connect me to the external world, to my spouse, to my friends, to my children. This is the role of the emotions. We said think about relationship. Relationship without emotions, there is nothing that will connect the two together. They are separate, even though they have great communication. And in relationship, communication is never the problem. And it's usually when you go to therapy, they speak about communication, but it is not the problem. Communication is just a result. The problem, it's our emotions, or undesirable emotions. They are the problem. So if I'll summarize it, there is nothing like problems in relationship. There is no problem in the relationship. The problems are always in me or in her. I have a problem. She has a problem with what? With our emotions, with our wills, with our desires, with our cravings. It's not the problem of the relationship. And why it is so important to emphasize this differentiation. Why it is so important? Because when we are walking, when we are going to therapy, it's not that we are working on our marriage. We are not working on our relationship. I am working on myself. The relationship does not need any work. I need a work. I need to grow. I need to develop myself. it's a major, it's very important difference. And he's saying that what is the difference between different persons? What is the source? When you are trying to speak about personality, what is the major, the most important characteristic in the personality? The most important characteristic in the personality is what? Is the emotions. Because if we were all using our mind, only our mind, all our conclusions were the same. When you are using your mind, it's like you are in a place that we are all together because we understood something. There was a result for an understanding, and now we are using this understanding, this result. When we are all using our brain, our understanding, when it's all about logic, there is not a big difference between us, because the logic push us to understand the same things. We are different where there are differences between us where in our emotions. There are different emotions to each one of us, and there are different. The character of a person, it's the stones. The most important things in our character are our emotions, because where I feel, it's where I am. And we said that the emotions are an engine that push me forwards, and the emotions take the soul down. Like the mind, when you are thinking about something, the intellect brings you up, takes you up from this reality. You start to think, why am I here? You are asking yourself questions. The emotions does not ask questions. The emotions are an engine. They push you forward or backward. Undesirable emotions, as he's saying, bad emotions. What are bad emotions? This is a separation that it's very unique to the Hasidic, to the Jewish psychology. What are undesirable emotions? Undesirable emotions are those that does not do their role. What are their role? To push you forward. When I am sad, what does it mean? That I don't want to get out, to do things, to be connected. I want to stay in my room. I don't want, when I'm in depression, I want that everyone will close the windows, and I don't want to have any connections, or to get up early, or to do things. So good emotions, desirable emotions, push us forward. Undesirable emotions does the opposite. Push us backwards. When I'm angry on someone, I can't see him because he hurted me, he said to me something, and now he said to me something, I cannot stand him anymore. I want to eliminate his presence. It's like a baby that is eating his mother. What is he doing? It does not want her now to exist anymore. When I'm angry about someone, I don't want him to exist. So what does it mean? That this emotion, undesirable emotion, push me backward. And it's the same when I am criticizing everything. When I'm criticizing, even though the justice is in my side, and I'm right in everything that I'm saying, still, it's very hard to live with someone that is always right. It's very hard. You don't want to live with someone that is right, because it's very hard, because he's right, but he's destroying his family, destroying his children. When everything is right, when justice it's all about justice, there is no place for what? For peace, for community, for understanding, for making mistakes. When you're criticizing your children all day long, and you are right, you want from them to be there, to be here, to do that, and you are disappointed from them, you don't give them the spare, the opportunity to make mistakes. And when they do not make mistakes, they do not develop themselves. You must do mistakes in order to develop yourself. So we said undesirable emotions, bad emotions. What is bad? Bad is disconnection. What is good? Good is connection, is being connected. It's like, I'll give you an example about being bad. I saw a picture of about 24 young Germans, young Nazis, managed the Auschwitz camp during the Second World War, during the Holocaust. And only 24, 23 Germans, and they had a lot of Ukraine workers. And they managed to murder about 1 million Jews. And in 1944, I saw they took a picture. Those 20 or 24 young, in their 20s, young Germans that managed the camp, the Auschwitz camp, and they took a picture together. Behind them, there was the camp, and they were like hanging and like this and smiling, and this paint was in color. I think they added the color later, and I saw this picture a few years ago, and I was astonished. I believe that if it was like this group would sit today, men and women, sit today with us, with me, Israeli Jew in Israel, we would find a lot of things in common. We would be able to talk together. But back then, what was being bad? What is bad according to what the Alder Rebbe is saying? Being bad, negativity is that you do not see the other. They didn't see us as humans. They did not see Jews as humans. Jews are less than humans. We are something else. And if you are not human, I do not consider you. Being bad is that I do not see the environment, the people around me. I do not see others. I see only myself. And I could be bad to my spouse. I could be bad to other people. I could be bad to myself when I do not see myself. I do not listen to myself. I'll give you another example of being bad. When you go to the grocery, and I don't know how it is in the United States or other places, but in Israel, when you go to the grocery and the cashier that is sitting in when you're trying to get out, and she is putting like a sign, I will be back in 5 minutes, and it was just your turn, and you say to her, no, just let me pass and then go to your break. What does it mean? She needs to go to the toilet. She needs to do something. If someone needs to go to the toilet, you will say to him, just a minute, just let me pass. Why do you say to her, let me pass? Because you do not really see her. You do not see her. She's for you like the computer. She's not human. This is being bad. This is badness in let's say in a small amount. It's not. There is a huge difference between what the Nazis did, murdering 6 million Jews and millions of others, and being bad to the cashier. But in your inner movement, inner soul movement, inner emotion, there is a bit of imagination. What is the imagination? In both of the cases, you have no responsibility. You do not see the other. It means to you nothing. She is like the computer. It's like you deserve to get the right, you deserve that people, the right treatment. That's what you deserve. You are paying. You have some money. So you deserve it. But still, nobody cares about your money. You do not see her. So the Alter Rebbe is saying that there are bad elements, bad tendencies that stems from what? Stems from the undesirable emotions that each one of us has. What does it mean? What does it mean? That it means it's not enough to say that you have a good soul, and animalistic soul and divine soul. The animalistic soul is very egocentric, and out of it derives undesirable emotions that separates you from your environment, from your spouse, from your friends, from your children. Why it separates you? Because you think only about yourself. What is the result? Angry, anxiety, disconnection, and when you feel you are not a part, whatever, doesn't matter. Stress. There is another characteristic of the emotions that we have to bring into consideration, and it is that each one of us has a very unique, in Hebrew it's called midah. Midah, it's like measurement. It's like an inner power that illuminates in you. And this inner power, it's like the one that creates. It's the one that creates your emotion. And each one of us has a different emotion that is very dominant in him. What do I mean? There are those that do not have tendency to anxiety. They do not have this tendency. They can develop tendency to anxiety if they will speak with their friends, and all of the conversation will be about what will happen if we won't be able to pay the mortgage, if still, if they do not develop this tendency, they won't have they won't have anxieties. There are those that don't have tendency to anxiety, but they have a tendency to criticize other, not to accept what is still, what is behind criticizing, not accepting, and always judging what is behind it. That I want the reality to be perfect. I want a perfect reality, and I cannot accept damaged reality. And I really want the reality to go to a higher place, but I cannot live like that, because I'm destroying everything. You cannot live, you cannot let others live, you cannot let yourself live in a state of mind, in a mindset that always you want a perfect reality, because you won't reach there. And you cannot ask it from your family, because it will destroy your family. It will be very hard to live near a person like you. So there are those that do not have a tendency to be angry or to be judgmental, and there are those that do not have the tendency to be to addictions. But there are those that the addictions are the problem. They do not have a problem to make restrictions. If somebody will tell them they should stop eating sugar, they have no problem with that. There are those that have those tendencies, and there are those that it's very hard for them to put restriction, because they're very good person, and they're good and they love others, but it's very hard for them to put restrictions. So and they are falling very easily to addictions, and there are those that fall very easily to depression or to laziness. There are those that does not have a problem with laziness, and there are those that have this problem with laziness. What do I say? Our sage says that each person is born in his own luck. Like you have your luck, and it's like in your own midah, in your own tendency. And the tendency that you have is the emotion that is dominant in you. And if you ask someone if we can change ourselves, the answer will be it's very hard to change our personality, because it's very hard to change our dominant emotion that controls us. Where we can change it in our thought, in the way we act, the way we speak, and in other ways. But we cannot really change ourselves. We will still be the same as we were. And it's very easy to know that. If you are a mother or father, look at your children when they were 2-3 years old, and after 5 and 10 and 20 and 25 years, and you will see that if they had like some kind of undesirable emotion, you will notice it very dominantly when they are 25 or when they are 17. And if they had the tendency to laziness when they were 5. And when they were 5, it didn't bother you. Why? Because it was a bit of, it was fun. Because all the children ran, and your child sat near to you. But at the age of 25, it's a problem. Why is it a problem? Because the child does not push himself forward. So what we are saying that each one of us has a different tendency. And this tendency is like, it's part of its nature. This is what creates his personality. And there are different undesirable emotions in each one of us. And when we know those undesirable emotions, we will know better 2 things. First of all, what to be careful of, how to navigate them. I will know I do not have a problem with addiction. I know how to overcome addiction, but I have a problem with judgmental, being judging everyone, or criticizing, or depression, or whatever. It's not me. I don't have a problem with depression, but each one of us has a different, very intense problem, which is emotional problem, which if you are married, I will tell you that all of your marriage problems, we said there is no problem with the marriage, all of your quarrel in your common life are connected to this emotion, to this midah that we spoke about, that each one of us has. And it always comes in different views and different garments and different clothes, but it's always the same emotion that controls you or her. And this is the most important thing to remember. So we said that each one of us has a different tendency, emotional tendency, that controls him. And it's this emotional tendency is in the heart of the animalistic soul. So we have different animalistic soul, and what separates us, what makes me unique in a way, is this tendency to undesirable emotion. And we said there is another thing that we want to know about this undesirable emotion, which is that in it encapsulate our greatest life mission, I would say, or understanding what I really should do in my life, and how I can fulfill my purpose. But this is another thing, we'll talk about it later. Let's get back to the way my personality is being shaped. So we said that each one of us has this very different kind of emotional tendency. So now, in order to know what characterizes me, what is my tendency, what is my most dominant emotion that controls my life and that motivates me or unmotivates me, what the Alter Rebbe does, he says, we have 4 elements in the physical world and 4 elements in the spiritual world. And those 4 elements together creates every personality. But every personality, each personality has a different amount of one of those elements. If a different percentage of one of those elements. What do I mean? It's like I can have a domination of one element, but a lack of the other element. And if I have this element, which will be very dominant in my personality, that means that I will always have a tendency to some kind of emotional behavior. So what we have to know, instead, what he's doing, like I'm repeating, instead of saying, okay, we have millions of kinds of personality, he's saying we have 4 elements in nature and in the soul, and each combination of those elements creates different personality. And in order to know which one of those elements is more dominant in your personality, he's saying let's contemplate on 4 different ideal types that will characterize the domination of those different elements. So those elements, let me say about them, they are fire, and they are fire, air, sand or land, sand, and we said fire, we said sand, we said and water. Water is the last one. In Hebrew, it's like I have to translate it to English. So you will accept my apologies. And each one of us has a different domination of one of those elements, and the different percentage of one of those elements brings us closer to the ideal type of one of those ideal types. Like if you are more connected or to the fire personality, or that means that you have more of the fire element in you. Or if you are more connected to the air personality, that means that you have more of the air personality, of the air element in you. Or if you are more close to the element of earth or sand, that means that you have more of this element in you. Or if you are more connected to the element of water, so you have more water in you. in our next lesson, we will try to penetrate into all those four elements, understand what they say to us, and how can I understand what is the most important, what is the most dominant element that controls me. And when I will know it, it's so important, because when I will not know it, I will know what is my life mission, and which emotion can control me mostly and can change my life, and why I should be very careful with this emotion and overcome those when this emotion is trying to articulate itself in undesirable ways. So I think it's enough for now. We said that we'll learn 10-20 minutes each time, and I will try to upload twice a week. Now we're still standing on once a week, and I will, even though this channel is just starting, you're more than welcome to subscribe and to give us a thumb up, and we will see you in the next chapter in the Tanya. Thank you very much. And I will, if you want, I will add the sources down below the video. Thank you very much.